Hey guys, it is Dwayne here from DewyHQ, and today I'm bringing you another video relating to Persona 5. Now, it's been a while since I've uploaded a video, about a month and a bit. I apologise about that. I've been pretty busy with a couple of things and I've been under the weather, but now I'm back at it, so I've got to break down this Persona 5 prologue that we actually got. We got a juicy 18 minutes of gameplay, and it was essentially the starting mission in Persona 5. Now, it was fairly interesting. There's a couple of theories I have about this entire layout that we have here, but I just want to quickly run through a couple of things and break down the video, and then I'll get to the theory towards the end of the video. Yeah, let's jump straight into this awesome gameplay of Persona 5. So the main thing we can derive from the trailer is that the casino's 100% towards the end of the game. It's most likely not the final dungeon, because I have a theory relating to this as well. It's probably not the final dungeon though, I can guarantee you that. We also kind of picked up on this based on how many characters were walking towards the casino in one of the last trailers, which I think was PV4. So I'll throw the image up here, and I'm pretty sure I discussed this in the last breakdown of PV4. So the main thing to take away from this, all the party members are present except for Goro, which seem to be talking to the protagonist, and they're all blacked out or shadowed out. Now, obviously this is just to not reveal who they are, but it's pretty obvious who they are, but there is an interesting part. There is a muffled voice that you can't hear, and this could potentially be Goro. We're not quite sure at this point, or it could be even another select party member. But I'm pretty sure we get a casting call of Anne, Ryuji, Yusuke, Futaba, and Haru, as well as Morgana. I don't think we see Makoto at all. I'm not quite sure about that, but I'm pretty sure we don't. So her voice could be the muffled one, or it could be potentially Goro's. So in these short little gameplay segments, it's pretty much a tutorial through the entire prologue, just showing you how to get around dungeons by jumping from light to light, or getting around corners, or whatever. But interestingly enough, we get a glimpse at the loading screen, which is pretty cool actually. We also see the first battle in the game. Now, the most interesting thing to take away from this is that Arsene is shadowed out. Now, I have a theory on this, and I'll be bringing this up towards the end of the game, but it almost seems like a negative version of Arsene. So, I know there was something similar to this in Persona 4, when you are dreaming and you go to the TV world in your mind and you fight with Izanagi, and you can't see Izanagi in the first bits of Persona 4. But I don't think this is quite on the same level. But moving on. We also get a quick look at the protagonist's critical melee animation, which I think is pretty cool. It's pretty fitting for the character. But following the battle, we see some basic dungeon gameplay, and how dashing works, for example. Throughout the entire prologue, it feels like you're playing through a movie, and they really capture the Phantom Thief aspect of the entire thing. And this is really hammered home with all the anime cutscenes that we see. Shortly after the small snippets of gameplay we get to see a full-fledged cutscene where we see the protagonist breaking out of the casino through the main window, only to be captured by the police. Now, this is interesting because this was shown, I believe, in the very first trailer of PV4, but I think they've done little touch-ups here and there just to make it look a little bit nicer. There's one thing I've also noticed about this entire cutscene. When the protagonist tries to climb up the fire escape, we see him get kicked down by police. Now, the interesting thing to take away from this is that when he's kicked off the ladder and falls back, we see a wide shot of this fire escape. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I can't see any police up there. I'm not sure if he was just thwarted by his own actions and it was karma coming back, or maybe the police are just higher up. Might be a little oversight, but it's just something I picked up. Now, the most interesting thing about this entire capture scene, the commanding officer says to the protagonist that it was his friends that ratted him out and caused him to be caught by the police. Straight after this direct line of dialogue, we see the mugshots of the protagonist. As we see the protagonist wake up, we see that he's been drugged, kicked, and bruised. It's safe to say that he's been physically and mentally tortured at this point. The leading police officer in the room has obviously no care for the protagonist's well-being, and he starts to list his crimes. One crime that he lists off is that he's actually killed people. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the protagonist was stealing hearts, not killing people. So, this also might relate to my theory. But moving along, we also get to see how we choose our difficulty, and we also get to see how we name our character. The translated text of the protagonist's name in this is actually Chair-kun. This could be just an in-house name that the production team used, but I kind of feel that it was adopted from the fans when the game was first announced. We then move on to see Sei Najima, who comes to interrogate the protagonist. The other officers seem opposed to the idea of her interrogating at all, telling her that she should go home and she should give up. In the end, she's able to interrogate, but her conversation is cut short. They might think that she isn't competent enough to interrogate him. I believe that she's assigned to the case of capturing the Phantom Thieves and she hasn't been successful throughout the entire case, with the Phantom Thieves thwarting her along the way. This also might relate to what Naoto was experiencing in Persona 4 when she was being belittled by the police station because she was younger than most of the other officers. Aside from asking the basic questions about stealing hearts, something very peculiar happens. As if we enter the protagonist's mind, and the background darkens, a familiar butterfly flies past. We then hear the voices of Caroline and Justine. They mention that he is a slave to this fate, and his future is sealed, and he cannot win this game. They ask the protagonist to win this game and save this world. We are then brought back in time to presumably, which is the start of the school year, where we begin our life as a Phantom Thief. Now, here comes theory time. Now, I believe that the protagonist we saw in the prologue was the protagonist's future, where he had no assistance whatsoever from the Velvet Room, and didn't gain access to the wildcard ability. This could also mean that Arsene was controlling the protagonist's actions. This could also be represented by the darker version that we saw of Arsene. Alongside this, now that the protagonist knows his fate, this might be the reason why the Velvet Room is represented as a prison, as the protagonist knows what the consequences will be of his actions if he fails, as experiencing the consequences can greatly affect the mind, as the Velvet Room is described as a place that exists between dream and reality, mind and matter. Perhaps the discipline on the mind that the protagonist receives from the Velvet Twins and Igor allow him to retain control of Arsene, and as well as changing his actions, which could result in a better ending. The other major point to bring up about the entire theory is that we find out that there's a traitor in the mix that rats out the protagonist. Perhaps this traitor is set in stone, or it could always change, and perhaps the way to get around this is to go for a true ending where you max all social links so every character trusts you. It's only just a small theory, but this might relate to the true ending. Regardless, I feel like this main theory of Arsene controlling the protagonist and the negative Arsene we've seen actually has some pretty substantial ground. As the protagonist may have been acting on instinct the entire time, this might also relate to the 7 deadly sins. Alongside this 18-minute prologue, we've had some basic dungeon gameplay from the demos that people have been able to play, and we've also had the reveal of, I think it was about 7 or 8 social links. The most interesting about social links this time round, or cooperations, is that they introduce a lot of beneficial skills. One, which is Hifumi Togo, which is of the Star Arcana, she actually unlocks the ability to use Baton Touch, which seemed to be a basic battle option that would just be included throughout the entire game, but it seems to be only unlocked by progressing through the Star social link. She also allows for teammates to be swapped out during the dungeons and improves the escape chances of escaping battles. We can also confirm that the Sun Arcana improves negotiations in Hold Up when trying to recruit a demon. The Tower Arcana Shina Oda improves your gun attack during battles. The Devil Arcana Ichiko Oya provides information on the heist target. And the Hangman Arcana Munehiza Iwai offers a discount at his store. This will probably apply to Tei Takumi, who's of the Death Arcana as well. I'm not sure if I want to do full breakdowns of the entire corporations that have been revealed. There's little snippets of gameplay that are interesting, but not enough to probably do a full video. I'm probably going to revisit this because we've had a lot of their Arcanas confirmed. This helps us narrow down the Arcanas of the main characters. So far we've only had 3 of the main characters' Arcanas revealed, those being Ryuji, who is Chariot, Anne, who is Lovers, and Futaba, who is Hermit. And that's all I have for today. If you guys enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comment section below, and if you have your own theories, drop them down in the comment section below. But stay tuned for more videos in the future. It was Dwayne here from DewyHQ. I'm looking forward to hearing and seeing your guys' theories in the comments. See you guys then.